panel is in English. The International Conference on Prospects for China's Transformation, organized jointly by the China Democracy Forum, Sydney Democracy Network, and UTS Political and Social Sciences program, is now commencing. Please allow me to request Professor John King, Director of the SDN, the hosting organization, who helped this conference taking place today, to give a warm welcome to all of you. John King, Professor King.
Well, good morning, everybody. 早上好. I'd like to welcome you to the university, 欢迎 to this philosophy room, which has quite a history, you may know. It was a room in which a very famous professor, John Anderson, used to lecture. He was in the 1920s and 1930s and much talked about defender of freedom of expression and of public assembly. And it has hosted other public figures, politicians, including Enoch Powell, who was, you may remember, a very famous conservative member of parliament in the United Kingdom, who also, I think, lectured here. I want to welcome you to this, what is in effect a three-day event.
Yeah, 3 days.
Part of which will be held here at the university, and I wanted to thank Tintin for all of his tireless efforts for bringing this together. So welcome, and I hope it's a morning that is stimulating, in which you learn, we all learn together, new things about this important subject. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor John King. Now is the conference is starting, so I first would like to request.
You say.
Sorry.
You say.
Reverend Bill Cruz to address this few words to this conference, because he's in a pity to go for another commitment. So that's why he's the first one to talk today.
I'd like to firstly...
Reverend, could you please speak here, because we get speakers. Yeah.
Okay. Firstly, I'd like to say thank you very much for inviting me. Thank you very, very much. In 1970, I walked onto the streets of King's Cross, saw a whole lot of homeless and trafficked children, and thought in the depths of my soul, this is wrong. And have spent all my time trying to right those wrongs. And over my life, I see things and I think, this is wrong. And if I don't do something about it, I am part of the group that allows these things to happen. Last night was the 80th anniversary of Kristallnacht, which was the night the Nazis began to imprison and kill all the Jews in Europe. And it had begun many years before. There were so many kind of warning signs that this was going to happen, and people stood by and watched. And we were addressed last night by a 98-year-old man who his whole family had been exterminated. Everybody he knew had been exterminated. As a young child, he'd gone through all the various camps and survived. And what amazes me so much about the survivors is that they realise all there is in this world is love. It's the only thing that doesn't die with us. And nations can come, as it's all written, my whole speech is written in your article there, that nations come and go, dictators come and go, armies come and go, but we human beings survive, and what we survive through is because of love. And I was fortunate enough to be on the streets of Hong Kong during the occupation. And I saw the world as it could be, as it could be. And it could be a beautiful place if we get all those oppressive people and lock them up, or don't treat them the way they treat us. I got involved in this in 1989 when the Tiananmen Square event happened. And I thought in my soul, this is wrong. And when I saw Bob Hawke, the Prime Minister of Australia, invite all the students who are here to stay in Australia, my church became a place where all the students could sign to begin to register to stay in Australia. And I was really proud of that. And what reminded me most was the goddess of democracy that was high in the square. And the PLA, they destroyed that, as they do. Destroy things. That's all they can do, is destroy things. And I always wanted a statue like that in my church. And I had commissioned a designer who was going to make one out of marble, the marble that made the Parthenon in Greece. And I said, it's got to have red feet to symbolise the blood of the students who died. And believe it or not, just as we began to design the statue, some people from the democracy movement came and said, we've got a statue here, and it rests in the grounds of our church. And it rests beside the statue to the Korean comfort women. But it's not just Korean women who were going to be prisoners, to be sex slaves of the Japanese soldiers. It was many Chinese women too. And I was fortunate to be in Korea a couple of months ago, and I met a 97-year-old Chinese woman who had been dragooned as to be a slave. She had a baby to the soldiers. Many of those babies were killed. Many of the women had their babies aborted. When they went home, because their families were peasant families, many of the families shunned their daughters, shunned them, wouldn't have anything to do with them. One or two fathers tried to strangle their daughters because it was such shame on the family. So that what I'm trying to say is we cannot allow things to happen. If we stand by and quietly watch things to happen, we're complicit in it too. And what I've learned is that the only way to fight dictators is with love. And I know that sounds romantic and whatever, but ultimately it will win. So I wish you very well today, and I just pray that God blesses you all, and that this meeting is part of a movement that in the end will see change in China, because the Communist Party will drift away like the wind. It will go, but the love will remain. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Bill. The next speaker is Lapa, the representative, His Holiness Dalai Lama, to Australia. The podium is yours.
Good morning, distinguished guests and ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I would like to extend my thanks to the organizers of today's meeting. I think the title of the conference, Coming Transformation of China, is not only appropriate, but it is timely and forward-thinking. For too long, People's Republic of China has been able to do whatever it pleases without anyone holding it accountable. Due to its rising global economic stage, its human rights record deteriorated, and international community could not do much to challenge China. This is today's reality. Recently, at a forum in Geneva, titled Geneva Forum 2018, Forum on Human Rights Situation in Regions under PRC, organized by the Department of Information and International Relations of Central Tibetan Administration and Office of Tibet, Geneva. Dr. Lobsang Senke, President of the Central Tibetan Administration, said, quote, "For so long, countries around the world tried to convince themselves that by engaging with China, it will gradually transform and ultimately become a democratic country. However, after 20 years of engagement, it is not China that is transforming. China is actually transforming everybody else. However, it cannot go on like this forever. Change is happening and international community is slowly standing up to China." I will speak a little bit about Tibet-related matter. In Geneva on 6 November at China's Universal Periodic Review, UPR, China was reviewed for its human rights record. This is China's third review. UN member states call for unfettered access to Tibet. A total of 12 member states, Australia, Canada, Denmark, France, Germany, Japan, New Zealand, Sweden, Switzerland, United Kingdom, and United States, expressed concern over human rights violation in Tibet, in particular freedom of religion and belief, freedom of expression and assembly, the imprisonment of language advocate Tashi Wangchu, crackdown on Tibetan Buddhist lamas and call for unhindered access to diplomats and UN representatives to Tibet. 9 member states made a total of 12 recommendations on Tibet. New Zealand called for the resumption of two-way dialogue on Tibet. During the UPR, Australia recommended that the